You accomplished something in your administration. I don't think you got a lot of credit for it, but you made America energy independent for the first time in 70.
Yeah, because we weren't using any energy. And Russia and Saudi Arabia were overproducing.
5 years. And that I don't think in the last months of your administration you imported a single barrel of oil.
Yeah. But you know what we did have to import? Some, well, I don't know if we had to import them. I think Canada had to let us borrow some initially, and then we had to make some of our own. Refrigerated morgue trucks. You fucking fire plug.
From Saudi Arabia, for example,
Zero.
not one. And now we just had in the last 2 weeks.
So nothing. You didn't nothing. Thanks, Jake. Let's see. Trump. Let's see what Trump, Saudi Arabia. Let's see what that brings us. Just a simple Google search. Well, yeah. U.S. Saudi ties were especially close under Trump. This is November 12th, 2020. Under Biden, that looks likely to change. Love you. Love you too. No, love you. I just want to have a picnic. All right. When President Donald Trump visited Saudi Arabia on his first official foreign visit in 2017, he was showered with pageantry and flanked by a herd of horsemen carrying Saudi and American flags. There he is. And he did this. He's dancing around, and he did his little bow. And then there's Pompeo with him. They just hung out. It was a good time. Trump's top 11 favors to Saudi Arabia. This is 2019. That was only in 2019. Hello. Vetoed 3 congressional bills aimed at stopping more than $8 billion in arms sales to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. The last favor by a commander-in-chief who's made a point of lavishing praise on the Saudi kingdom while avoiding public criticism. From his earliest days in office, Trump has cultivated Saudi Arabia and placed it at the center of his foreign policy in the Middle East. Gee, I wonder why that is, because if Russia's not going to give you any more money, these assholes might.
Joe Biden begging OPEC to increase production.
Was he begging?
Because it still is the lifeblood of the world's economy.
No, it isn't.
My question is...
It's not the lifeblood. Otherwise, like, oil futures would be guiding the market, and they're clearly not.
With gas up $1.30 a gallon...
Back, because people are driving again.
This is now a new tax on the American people.
No, it's the same thing as the Remain in Mexico policy. There's a combination of going back to the normal level and the pent-up demand. I mean, statistically, that's what you're getting.
That means the cost of delivering every single product in every grocery store, drugstore, every Homes Depot and
Yeah, Homes Depot. Yo, what's up, Holmes? Just hanging out the depot.
Lowe's is...
And Lobes, is it?
Product in every grocery store, drugstore, every Homes Depot and Lowe's is costing Americans more, and inflation on top of it at 5.4%, a 15-year high. Your reaction to that aspect of the economy alone?
So,
we had the greatest, and we had energy independence. We had the greatest economy.
Energy independence was one of my greatest achievements, I thought. I think the vaccine, energy independence, what we did on the border, frankly, Afghanistan.
Yeah, he actually threw the race last year. He was just tired of winning.
Would have been great. We would have been out, and we would have been out with dignity and with pride, and it would have worked out great.
Yes, MIT is perfecting the solid-state battery. We're about 2 years away from them start hitting the market in any major way. At this point, and there's going to be as soon as that happens, there's going to be a force accelerator in that market, eliminating the need for lithium-ion and just using metal. We're going to go buy a bunch of Afghan scrap metal to make batteries.
None of this stuff going. This, though, again, it's not the concept of leaving. It's the way they withdrew. It was not even possible to believe. But
well, I believe it. I mean, I think we all believe to a large extent that there was no there, and that there was no way to do this without this happening.
Gasoline, as you know, was $1.87 when I was leaving office.
Because no one was going anywhere, because 500,000 Americans had died, and you done fuck all.
And now it's going to be up to over $5 very soon.
Well, that whole supply and demand thing.
Soon. And they're talking to OPEC. I know the OPEC people very well. You
know OPEC. Basically, he knows OPEC better than the dead dinosaurs do.
About negotiators, they're killing us. And What you didn't say is that
Why? They're selling oil on the market. They're competing with everybody else.
Biden failed with OPEC. They told him no on the cutbacks. They failed with OPEC.
On cutbacks? I thought he was asking them to increase production.
To think that we're back to
Yeah. Hold on one second. Oil, OPEC, prices. Let's see. Well, here we go. The preliminary. Here you go. So this is. Let's see. Let's look at this little chart, shall we? Look at this guy. Oil prices 1960 to 1921. Sorry, to 2021. Where's this? Statista. All right. That's fine. So here's 2018. There you go. There you go. 2018. This is when we were recovering from the this. So it dropped. Look at this drop. Do you think Obama gets credit for this drop? You think anybody? Dink, dink, dink. To 2016. You think? All right. But here we are. 2017. This is trunk on in. There you go. Bing. And then in 2019, and then boink, and then it drops down when no one's going anywhere to 41, 47, and then it's back up to 65. Still lower than the 2018 peak currently, and it seems to be steady at that point. We will watch as this plays out over the next little bit, but that's a curious thing. He's not going to bring up price of oil. Oh, and this is just OPEC crude, by the way. Oil has was $140 a barrel in 2008. Yeah. This is just OPEC, by the way. This is the OPEC price from 1960 to 2021. That said, let's see. Oil prices currently. Let's see. Get back in here. All. There we go. Let's just go to news. Yeah, that. Oil prices post lowest settlement since May as COVID remains elephant in the room. Oil futures on Wednesday post their lowest settlement since May, with concern about COVID's impact on energy demand pressuring prices even as the U.S. government data revealed a more than 3 million barrel weekly decline in domestic crude inventories. The Energy Information Administration on Wednesday reported that U.S. crude inventories fell by 3.2 million barrels for the week ending August 13. On average, analysts polled by S&P Global Platts forecast a decline of 3.1 million barrels for crude stocks, while the American Petroleum Institute on Tuesday reported a 1.2 million barrel decline. The EIA numbers show a decline in crude and distilled inventories and a small increase in gasoline stocks, which should be bullish, indicating that U.S. oil demand is not significantly affected by rising COVID case numbers. Michael Lynch, president of Strategic Energy and Economic Research, SEER, which cannot see the future, for the record, told MarketWatch that data should be supportive of prices in the near term, putting a floor of about 65 with a pressure towards 70. However, COVID is the elephant in the room. West Texas Intermediate crude for September. Deliveries, CL00, negative 1.26% fall, 1.31% fall, 1.7%, settled at 65.46 a barrel in New York. Investors are worried that oil prices went too high during its rallying phase when optimism was sky high about demand returning to normal, but now investors are forced to reassess those rosy views and are realizing that demand is actually a little softer. This is what drove the price up. That's what caused the spike. Hold on, let me blow this up for you guys because it's a bit much. There you go. Investors are worried about oil prices. Are worried that oil prices went too high during its rallying phase when optimism was sky high about demand returning to normal. But now investors are forced to reassess those rosy views and are realizing that demand is actually a little softer. That's going to take the price down. They were just trying to oh shit, we're making money again. That's it. So, just for the record. But we had energy independence. We were doing the greatest thing.
to negotiating with OPEC. That's how we got into the Middle East years ago, because we needed the energy, and we went into the Middle East and would protect countries because we needed the energy.
Yeah, that's less and less the case. By the way, I'm glad you're coming around on wind and solar then.
We didn't have to do that anymore. We were energy independent, and now those wells are shut down and those jobs are gone, and Keystone is, and its numbers 48,000 jobs, not 8,000 jobs. Those
They're temporary when you build it, but then, I mean, obviously, we do not calculate, he's right, we do not calculate certain jobs that would be created by the Keystone pipeline, which would be, of course, large cleanup crews to help stop the damage when it leaks, and when it gets into the groundwater, all the medical professionals that will have to treat all the people who, have toxic reactions to oil in their water.
And they lied in the campaign because Biden never talked about closing up Keystone.
Does he? I mean, honestly, do we even have to? Biden campaign Keystone statement. This is like fucking fish in a barrel. You're making it boring for me, dude. Let's see. Let's go to videos. Oh, here's a bunch. This is May 18th.
You were able to...
This qualifies as kind of a never moment. He never said that. Hold on one second. There you go. Did they go in here? Does he talk to the interview? Okay, where's... All right, let me go back to this one. Let's just look at this one. Biden campaign said he would rescind Keystone pipeline permit if elected. May 18th, 2020. He never talked about it. He never mentioned it. He didn't run on it. He kept it a big secret from everybody.
He said, oh, well, and they lied in the campaign because Biden never talked about closing up Keystone. He said, oh, well, we'll look at it. We'll look at it. They were lying because it was almost the first day that they closed up Keystone. And
yeah, he said he would do it on the first day. It was a selling point. Feature, not a bug. Something you're familiar with.
Those workers are devastated.
Yeah, that's why with the infrastructure bill and with the rescue package, it was meant to create jobs where they could go to instead.
And the head of
stuff that would actually help the country, like fixing bridges and shit like that. Stuff they're very qualified to do that would long-term help the country instead of helping a Canadian shale oil company.
Union, they all support me, but the head of the union supported Biden, and they ought to throw him the hell out because he was worthless, because look what happened. But they lied about so many things. They lied about energy. They lied about Keystone. They lied about the military.
So, yeah, it's the same thing. Just say the same thing 3 times.
They lied about so much. Our country is in such trouble.
Mr. President,
such trouble. Oh, if only we could have a Canadian shale oil pipeline dripping oil into our aquifers and stay in Afghanistan. Things would be so much better.
You touched on Russia. I want to go back to it because we saw these massive cyber attacks.
We did see them in 2018 and 2019. He didn't do anything.
In their
2020.
Energy grid and also our food line, especially with our meats in this country.
Our food line.
And
our food line.
And
no. He's the guy who had food lines. Just saying.
And we also witnessed, and you referenced it earlier in the interview, the waiver that you prevented Vladimir Putin from getting, which allowed him to build the pipeline that is literally the
Nord Stream.
Lifeblood of the economy of our allies in Western Europe, while simultaneously...
Wait a minute. Is the lifeblood of the economies of our allies in Europe? So Russia sells them oil that they need for the lifeblood of the European economy, or they don't, and they sell arms to make up that money to Iran and North Korea and possibly China and shit like that. And again, it's easier to shut off the pipeline than to sink a bunch of ships.
Simultaneously cutting out the Keystone XL pipeline, high-paying career jobs for Americans.
Career. Yeah, you have a career cleaning up oil spills.
And I've got to ask, because if it was you or your...
Trump looks great right now, by the way. Dude, you don't look at all like a frog. I don't know what anybody's talking about.
Sons, and let's see, what do they have in common? Russia, Hunter Biden got a lot of money. China.
Well, no, Rosemont Seneca got money from the mayor's wife of Moscow, who turned that guy in and needed to fuck off. So she needed to take what little money she had, which was a lot of money, but a little compared to everybody else, and turn it into a lot of money so she could leave and to save her life. Well,
They didn't do a deal with Goldman Sachs. They didn't do a deal with Deutsche Bank. They did a deal with Hunter Biden, $1.5 billion, with the Bank of China. And again, the Joe Biden has said nothing to threats against our military or, quote, reunification threats with Taiwan, or you must get permission to land an airplane in Taiwan, which I never thought would happen, or get lectured on human rights. My question then is, if the last name was Trump and your sons were making money in China, Russia, Kazakhstan.
Do I really have to look up all the clips of Eric and Don Jr. talking about how much money they're making in China and Russia?
Ukraine. If your sons lied on a gun application and threw that gun in a garbage basket or waste basket, if
it was a dumpster,
your sons were on video with smoking crack and with hookers.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's on.
Would the question not logically become, do you believe these countries have compromising materials, potentially, the very thing, remember Adam Schiff, compromising materials, on Trump when they didn't have it and he was being scammed? Do you see any potential for compromise here? Because it doesn't make sense to me to give Putin.
Uh-huh. Now, this is the guy he's going to ask about compromise. This should be good.
Putin a waiver?
So this story, the new tape that just came out 2 days ago, has not been on any mainstream media at all. It was on your show and a couple of shows, but no mainstream. It wasn't on NBC or CBS or ABC.
Yeah, none of the good stuff. It's been on your shitty little show, Sean. But, not real shows. Ouch.
ABC. It wasn't on CNN. It wasn't on any. It's Hunter Biden. It's the worst thing I've seen. You can't even imagine this. And look.
By the way, I don't know why the pivot point is your lack of imagination. I can imagine a lot of shit. And by the way, part of your job is you can imagine even the crazy outcomes. That's what the Defense Department is for in a lot of ways.
I hope families live well. But what they're doing is they're doing political persecutions with their prosecutors, whether they're local or federal.
That's what it is. It goes back to his taxes.
And our people didn't do that. The Republicans don't do it to anywhere. I mean, it's like a different world. They
are so weak. I mean, honestly, your whole party's run by rhinos. It's got to be rough.
Prosecutors for persecution. And it's happening. And our country is angry about it. And they see.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say angry. I would say miffed.
But what's going on with Hunter and China and Russia and all of that, I mean, they go after people for tiny little things. And
yeah, little $72 million things.
And here's somebody that took vast amounts of money out of China and out of Ukraine and out of.
Yeah, but the money he took out of China, he didn't take out. He joined the company 4 years later. But that money wasn't theirs. They had to watch it make money, and then they made money if it made money. They were investment executives. That's what the company did. They basically were shepherds for cash. They didn't get to keep it. They only got to keep a portion of the profit, not even the profit from it. It's not like, tell you what, take my $1 billion and park it somewhere, and then you can have a piece of it when I get it back. No, it's not that way it works. Park it someplace where it's going to make me money, and then you get a small percentage of like 2% to 5% of what it makes.
Out of Russia?
As a company. Lots of companies do that.
$3.5 million from the mayor's wife, and Chris Wallace wouldn't let me talk about that during a debate. He wouldn't even let me bring it up. Well, that has nothing to do. I said, it has a lot to do with it.
Well, it doesn't.
But it's a very sad period of time for our country.
It is. And by our country, he means him and Mar-a-Lago.
Everything's going bad. We have inflation.
Everything's bad. Everything is bad. It's true. I mean, sure, oil prices are coming down, and we don't have Keystone pipeline, and we had better industrial numbers. Hold on, let me look it up right now. auto manufacturing for July. I mean, you have to understand, everything is going terrible. Oh. Let's see. Everything. Let's see. Yeah, he's right, man. Everything. Look at this. It's terrible. Everything. Every time you turn around, it's everything is going to shit. Let's see. Look at probably vaccinations are probably down. Oh. Well, yeah. Starting to go back up again. That's not. Let's see. U.S. will begin wide distribution booster shots. U.S. workers lean in favor of workplace mandate. Oh, look at that. That's Pfizer Moderna booster shots plans September. Use to devise booster shots. COVID-19 vaccine state tracker. Let's see. Percentage of by state. Here you go. These are the vaccination states. These are the states that don't tell you anything. Insufficient data. That's adorable. That's adorable. This is the. It's weird the Devin Nunes areas suck. Telling you what's up. All of Georgia. Nice job, Brian Kemp. All ages, at least one dose, 60%. 51% are fully vaccinated. 12 and up, 70-60. 18 and up, 72-62. 65 and up, 91-81. That's pretty solid since they're the ones who die the most often. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Everything, it's never been this bad.
Economy's going to go to hell.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, look at the auto numbers.
We have inflation like we haven't seen in a long time. I think.
Okay, hold on one second. That may be true. Let's find out. Let's see. Inflation, and then we'll just look at the news right here. I'll look in here. Let's see. Oh, this is terrible. I mean, look at that. Look at this. Look at this. This is awful. 179 reasons why you probably don't need to panic about inflation. Canadian inflation jumps to 3.7%, troubling 1 million vaccines soaring wages fuel UK inflation fears. So it's worldwide, but blame Biden while you're at it. College in America is an injury amount to inflation. Fed minutes likely detail bond buying taper talks, inflation worries. Here's what Vanguard found to be the most potent inflation fighting asset class. Inflation is higher in the U.S. than elsewhere, but don't panic. This is the Wall Street Journal. Now, you have to understand, this is Rupert Murdoch's paper. So, U.S. Eurozone. Look at that. Look at it tapering off. That's weird. June to July. Look at inflation. Just kind of, that's weird. The whole month. Just kind of stayed right there, did it? Eurozone's still going up. Ours tapered. That's just went straight flattened. While prices in the Eurozone appear to rise more slowly, the difference isn't best explained by inflationary economic policies in Washington. America likes being exceptional, but too much exceptionalism when it comes to inflation is starting to cause concern. A closer look at the data suggests that investors can keep calm. On Wednesday, official figures confirmed that the Harmonized Computer Price Index in the Eurozone rose 2.2% in July from earlier in the year. This marked an acceleration relative to June, when inflation was 1.9, but stripping out energy, food, alcohol, tobacco prices, see what is dubbed core inflation. The index rose 0.7% down from 0.9% the previous month. What is surprising isn't inflation being too strong in the Eurozone, but rather it being too weak relative to the U.S., where the CPI growth reached 5.4% in July, with core inflation at 4.3%. Officials argue that today's inflation is only temporary. Higher prices, global price rebound from the troughs of pandemic and companies working through supply bottlenecks. Yet, if it is so much higher in the U.S., doesn't this mean that excessive fiscal and monetary policy are driving the economy, since transfers to households have been less generous in Europe and could trigger a dangerous delayed reaction by the Federal Reserve? Some economists think so. Why is inflation higher in the U.S. than there you go? Used cars and trucks are driving the price index up. Rent of residence is also doing it because UI has caused some rent rises in places. Hotels are jacking their prices because fewer people are using them. Apparel, clothing prices has gone up because of bottlenecks in supply. Transportation ex airfares. So train tickets are 0.19% points higher. The sum of the rest, that solves it. Once compared with U.S. data, however, Wednesday figures show that more than half of the 3.2 percentage point gap between inflation figures across the Atlantic can be explained away by two factors. First is America's reliance on used cars, which make up 3.5% of their consumption baskets, versus 1.1% for Europeans. So we just buy more used cars and we have more cars in circulation than the Europeans. Automakers are having production issues due to microchip shortages, so more people are buying good used cars. In Europe, consumers have delayed car purchases. In the U.S., they have bid the price of used cars up 42%. There you go, kids. 42% rise in used car prices could almost single-handedly explain the inflation metric in the United States. No one's ever seen anything like this. And it's all Biden. It has nothing to do with chip bottlenecks or any of the normalcy of it. Thank you, Diana. The fucking dumbassery in this.
It's much worse if you look just at energy. And when energy goes up, everything goes up because it's all about energy.
No. No, it isn't. Here's all the drivers of inflation in the United States. Here's a used cars. It is underclothes, airfares, restaurants, catering, energy, new vehicles. There's energy. There it is. It's like right up there with new vehicles. There's a 0.3%, 0.13 percentage points. That's it. Energy. That's our energy thing across all types. Heating oil being the biggest driver in the winter months. During the summer, it doesn't necessarily count in there. So you're talking about gas prices. Summer gas prices balance that part of it out. But across all parts of it, the lowering of heating oil in the summer versus the rise in gas prices, because when people drive and travel a lot, especially where you have to wear a mask on a plane, so a lot more people drove this summer and shit like that. And since they didn't sell a lot of gas last year, everybody wants to sell more gas this year, so they're jacking the price up to cover their losses last year, which you would expect them to fucking do because it's not a goddamn charity. And here's energy. These are the drivers. These are primary drivers of U.S. inflation. Other recreational services. Hello. And some of the rest almost equals energy. That's the driver. A whole percentage point is just used cars and trucks going up 42 fucking percent. And rent went up because in a lot of areas, people were getting money from the government. And a lot of people also were renting temporary houses while they either built a house that was delayed or were between houses. There's a supply problem in real estate, period, end of story. But keep in mind, this asshole, I just showed you the chart. That's the Wall Street Journal. It's a Rupert Murdoch paper. They're not padding the numbers to make Biden look like shit or to make Trump look like a hero. That's just what they are. And this asshole wants to tell you that energy is the driving point in all of this. And it ain't.